And how Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, is reportedly making steady progress on what the Speaker says will be a long recovery process after an intruder hit him on the head with a hammer on Friday. A California man is now being charged, among other things, with attempted kidnapping of a U.S. official on account of the performance of official duties. The attack comes as part of what seems to be an increase in politically motivated violence in the U.S. Earlier today, I spoke with Trevor Loudon for his perspective. An author and filmmaker, Loudon has spent more than 3 decades researching extremist movements and their influence on mainstream politics. Trevor Loudon, welcome to our show. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, a pleasure. Thanks very much for having me, Stephanie.
Now, we've seen a recent string of attacks making headlines that are said to be politically motivated, including the assault of Paul Pelosi. Democrats argue that attacks like this and the events on January 6th, for example, are fueled by inflammatory statements from conservative figures, including former President Trump. Democratic candidate for Arizona, Governor Katie Hobbs, recently also blamed the break-in at her campaign office on her Republican opponent Kari Lake's rhetoric. What's your take on this kind of violence?
The Pelosi thing is very problematic. Automatically it was assumed this was some political enemy of the Pelosi family, stirred up to a fevered rage by right-wing rhetoric. The guy is mentally ill. This is not your typical MAGA supporter. But so say it is politically motivated. Say this guy is a crazy man and he read something about, Nancy Pelosi online sometime written by a conservative. So what? So what? There are crazy people who do crazy things all of the time. We have a justice system that puts blame on people for their actions. They don't blame a whole class of people for freely exercising their right to free speech.
Now, some commentators are saying that violence against lawmakers may continue or escalate if politicians who deny election results aren't punished. Could this line of thought lead down an authoritarian path, do you think?
Well, this is what Hitler did. This is what any totalitarian does. You seize on a group of people, your enemy, your opposition, then you demonize them. You make them less than human. You make them insurrectionaries. President Biden come out there and basically called half of the country semi-fascists. If that's not inflammatory, if that's not a complete inflammatory lie and a generalization, you tell me what is.
The Washington Post reported today that Twitter has disrupted 3 China-based operations that were covertly trying to stoke division ahead of the midterm elections by posting about politically polarizing topics.
Yeah.
Why should Americans be worried about this?
Well, Americans should be worried because much of what we think politically is driven by trolls and information farms coming out of Russia and China. Russia and China have been flooding. The CIA is right about this. There are massive Russian disinformation exercises going on in this country. Before the last election, the Russians would put stuff out, anti-Black Lives Matter, then pro-Black Lives Matter. They just wanted to get people fired up. So they see the existing divisions and their job is to make them worse because they want to provoke a civil war in this country. Because if this country's at civil war, we're not going to stop them invading Taiwan, are we? We're not going to stand with Ukraine, are we? We're not going to even defend ourselves because we're going to be so busy attacking each other.